In 2012, I think it was in August, there was a sound of trumpets that seemed to come from the sky. They're on video on YouTube, where I'm on right now. They were heard simultaneously in different parts of the world, which includes Russia, the United States, Brazil, even Hong Kong and China, and probably in some other areas of the world too. According to Prophecy, the first of the trumpets was the sound, the beginning of sorrows, in which the world would be suffering much more than they probably ever have in history. That's what that time is all about. It's not a very good time in history either, according to Revelation. We are seeing that now. People didn't pay much attention to those trumpets. There's little fanfare about it or little recognition about them much at all. And yet ever since those somewhat eerie trumpets sounded, the amount of suffering has increased almost tenfold. If you think you've seen it all up until now, believe me, you haven't seen anything yet. God has been trying to warn us for a very long time of what was going to happen. And believe me, He hasn't been happy. Angels are crying, saints are crying. The Virgin Mary has been crying as well. She's tried to warn people many, many times. Everybody just seems to ignore it all. Why? Because mankind prefers the darkness. They prefer evil. They hate the truth. They hate hearing it. Because when they hear the truth, they feel convicted. All the bad things that have been going on lately is just more of an indication of what's going on. And unless people turn back to Him, it will continue to get worse. Not better, worse. Let me tell you something. More than 50 years ago, we were a country very much admired. We had it all. We had God as a cornerstone of the American families. We had a bustling economy. We probably had some debt financially, but it wasn't near as bad as it is now. Perhaps only a fraction of a percent as bad as it was, as it is now. And it's very sad because ever since we decided to turn our backs on the Lord, everything has gone downhill. We were a country much like the Roman Empire was in its heyday. But all of that is beginning to get taken away from us, because a few select people in our government decided to turn their backs on Him. It's a shame, you know, because we were a country that could have been even better today than it was 50 years ago. But today, we are a very shameful country. Very shameful. Look at what's happened to us. Look around you. See what's been going on. Aren't you ashamed of what our country has become? And you know, I know there are people that make excuses and say, well, it's the media, it's television, They build things up and they make things look worse than they are. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. Folks, we had television 50 years ago. We had television 50 years ago. You didn't see any of the stuff that's going on now. No, you can't use that as an excuse. You can't, because it isn't true. People are making excuses because they don't want to look at what's been going on in this world. And unless you do, this country will continue to get as bad as it is. Yes, I'm pointing my finger at everybody because nobody wants to see the truth. They want to make excuses to continue doing what they're doing, believing all the while that things are going to get better. But you know what? I got bad news for all of you. It's not going to get better. Not as long as people continue to do what they want and not face the facts for what they are. Get a life. Look up. Look at what's going on around you. Aren't you ashamed of what this country is? Open your eyes. Get the blinders off. You got brains. You got minds. You can see. Can't you? Just take a look. If we don't turn it around, and pretty darn soon, and to do that, you got to submit to God, get down on your faces, and repent. Repent and ask God to forgive you. Unless you do that, this country is going to continue to slide until it is completely ruined, and we will no longer be anywhere near the country we were 50 years ago. Our country, as it is, will be gone. And you will have nobody to blame for it but yourselves. I sure hope somebody hears this. Because, I'm starting to run out of hope. Get a clue, people. Open your eyes before it's too late.